Alright, 6th graders, I promise today will be a bit shorter than yesterday. So we're going to write fractions as percents. Yesterday we were writing percents as fractions. We're kind of going to go back and forth between the two. So to write a fraction as a percent, we're going to write an equivalent fraction. Remember, a fraction that is equal to that, with a denominator of 100. So here is the example. So if I have 3/20, I want to write an equivalent fraction, so something that's equal to, with a denominator out of 100. Okay, so 20 times what, or 100 divided by 20 was what? We had to multiply the 20 times 5. So whatever we did to the bottom number to get this, we have to do to the top number. So 3 times 5 is 15. So now that I have a fraction out of 100, I can write that top number as per 100 or percent. Remember? So this equals 15%. So when I do my percent sign, I try and be as neat as I can. I make a little circle, number 7, and then I put a circle down here. That way it's not to be confused with a number or anything else. Just like with all of our math, we want to be super neat with that, okay? Alright, so let's look at some problems together. 4/5. Let's look at 7/20. Let's look at 87/200. And 34/40. So if you're getting ahead of us, that's okay. I just want you to check back in with us. So we're writing these out of 100. So we need an equivalent fraction out of 100 for all of them. So from 5 to 100, we would have to multiply by 20. So we're going to multiply the 4 by 20. Okay, so now we're writing it out of 80 per 100, which is 80%. So we write 80%. Now here, we actually had to divide by something to get 100. We had to divide by 2. So we have to say 87 divided by 2. Well, that's not a very nice number, right? 88 divided by 2 would be 44. So this isn't quite 44. It's going to be 43.5. So 43.5 per 100 would equal 43.5%, or 43.5%, or 43.5%. You could read those any of those ways. Alright, here, just like up here, we had to multiply by 5. So 7 times 5 was 35. 35 per 100 is the same as 35%. And then this one is quite tricky, isn't it? But you know what I notice about this? We could simplify this. We could take 2 out of this, right? 17/20. And then we have a much nicer number, so we could multiply them both by 5 now to get 100 on the bottom. And then, oh gosh, 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 1 plus 8, so 85 out of 100. So this equals 85%. Now, just like we talked about yesterday, some things will be nicer than others. Sometimes we will have improper fractions or mixed numbers. So let's look at a couple of those to round out today. So if I have 5 halves and I have 1 and 9/10. So we know there's at least a whole in there. And how many wholes can we take out of here? 2, right? We could simplify this to 2 and 1/2. So for every whole we have 100%. So this gives us 200% plus, how would we change 1/2 to be an equivalent fraction out of 100? 2 times 50? I was going to say 25, but that wasn't going to work. So 1 times 50 is 50. So 1/2 is 50%. So we have 200% plus 50% gives us this 250%. Now same thing here. We're going to end up with at least 100%, right? Because we have a whole. And then we have to figure out how we would make this equivalent out of 100. I like this rather than changing it to an improper fraction and making it out of 100, because we could have multiplied here and gotten the 25, but I just think it's easier to think of our wholes as hundreds and not have to worry about multiplying those bigger numbers. So here we have multiplying by 10, right? 10 times 10 is 100, so 9 times 10 is 90. So I have 190% because I had this one. So I had 100% here. Remember how we read this as 1 and 9/10? So we had 100% plus that 90%, which gave us that 190%. Okay? A little bit trickier. And remember, sometimes we can simplify fractions first if you're having a hard time figuring out how to make it into 100. All right. Have a fantastic Tuesday.